What's up, and welcome back to Opposites Attract Podcast. This is Sonia Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to
Miguel Ramirez.
What's up, everybody? How was your day?
How was your week?
How is your life?
Going. And make sure that you guys go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. You guys know what to do. Find a clip, share it with somebody else. Follow our clips channel. There's our cat down there if you guys are watching.
Yes.
He's the one that... I spend like 30 minutes before the podcast lint rolling this chair every podcast because he leaves half a cat on the chair every week. It's insane how much he freaking sheds.
He thinks
anyway,
that
help
is his
us
chair.
out.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Share,
follow,
subscribe,
comment,
like.
share. Yeah. Tell people about it. All that
good stuff.
Yeah. He's a sweetheart, the little cat.
He is.
But he knows how to open the door. So and the doors here, they're kind of like, they just close shut. It doesn't lock or anything. And it doesn't have a knob. You just pull it, and he's figured out how to open the door.
He gets his little paws and shoves them under and pulls.
Yeah.
Yes. He was, I have to put him away when I have clients here. Yeah. Right? Because we'll be like in a deep meditation or deep conversation or something.
And all of a sudden,
you hear, yes.
Click, the door opens up.
And he's noisy at times because
he wants to
I have the blind slightly open, and we have a bird feeder on the window. And so someone refilled the bird feeder, and there have been birds. So
and he just sits at the window,
right,
fantasizing.
Well, he used to go outside until he got his ass bit, and then we decided, you're gonna stay in.
Yeah, pet problems.
Yes.
Anyway, hey, could you tell my fake ass smile at the beginning of the pod? Like I was like, trying to get this fucking thing started, dude. I'm pretty bummed out. I'm pretty bummed out about my leg. Like I think I talked about it last week. I signed up for a jiu-jitsu tournament. So this week I've really been like no shit, like doing what I'm supposed to be doing, running, throwing up, fucking training, working out, doing all that shit. And
throwing up not to lose weight. He's working out so hard that he throws up.
Yeah. I mean, well, so I'll just kind of break it down. So Monday I go to training. I did some burpees, did some pull-ups, do all that stuff. Tuesday I do cardio, Tuesday I do 100 pull-ups and 100 burpees. Like that's kind of like the days that I don't train, that's what I'm going to do. Because for me, you could have a workout routine, you could do all these other fucking things, but that's just not how my fucking brain works. Like if I could just set a number or a goal and just do that like a fucking robot, like I can do that. So I do these things, and then after I decided that the days that I don't train, I do some cardio. So on Tuesday, I didn't do cardio in the morning. I didn't wake up early and do it, so I had to do it after work. Here in Arizona, it's about 110.
That's why. Now I understand. Because I was wondering why you're running in the afternoon when it's so hot.
And then, so I'm running, and I've ran before. Like I ran miles, 15 miles, 10 miles. On average, when I was running and it was just like a regular workout, I would run 4 miles, and it would take me a little bit over 30 minutes. But this time on Tuesday, I didn't even make it to a mile, and I was throwing up in the rocks, like literally just throwing up on the side of the road in the rocks. There's like, it's like rush hour on our street. Like there's cars just going by. I'm just like, what? Just throwing up all in the rocks. And I ended up walking back a little bit and then running the rest of the way home. So I go to training on Wednesday. On Thursday, I decide I'm not running in the heat again. Now, if I'm not going to run in the heat, then I have to wake up early.
Right.
So I got up at 4:30 on Thursday, and I went for a run. And that run, I did 2 miles without stopping. No throwing up, no nothing.
Nice.
So that was, part of the difference. So then Friday, so today's Friday. I got training tonight, and I'm thinking about it, and I decide I really do need to like start stretching more for jiu-jitsu, like just for life. Like it's good for you. And especially for jiu-jitsu, when people are trying to take your joints apart and, all that shit, like it's good to be flexible. It's beneficial to be flexible when you're fighting, right?
And when you're getting older.
And I have a tournament coming up, and today I have the day off. I was like, you know what? I got some time. So I put the mats down upstairs and I start stretching. And I was, I did good. I think I did like 30 minutes, a bunch of different stuff. And then when I was done, I decided that I was going to do something that I've done like my whole fucking life pretty much. I don't do it all the time, but I've been able to do it since I was a teenager, where it's kind of like the little ninja stand-up move where you're laying on your back and you bring your knees up to your head and then you kick up and you just stand, like jump and stand up. And I've been able to do that like forever. I mean, I did it a few months ago when I wasn't training, when I wasn't doing anything at the gym. The difference is that the mats that we have, like it's easier to do that off of a solid ground because you have to push off of the ground to get up. I was stretching on mats upstairs and the mats are soft.
Right.
And when I push, it doesn't give me as much power to kick myself up. Either way, I'm able to do it. But when I landed a little funny and I felt the strain in my fucking hamstring. I had already been done stretching. I was done stretching. And then I do this dumb shit. Like now that it's like, it was fucking stupid. Because now I it's not that bad, but I know I can't train hard 100% right now. Like right now, I have to try to take it a little bit easier because I could make it worse. I don't even know what the fuck I'm going to do tonight. Like, it's so frustrating.
It's that. Wow. Okay.
I mean, it's not that, but I don't want to like do something and then feel a snap.
Right.
You know, like a tendon snap or like what, it's just, man, I'm pretty fucking bummed about that. And, I think about, it's just a shitty thought process that I have to get myself out of because it is what it is. I'm fucking signed up. I was actually thinking when I was getting ready, I was like, dude, if I have to fucking fight off my back and not be able to like, then I'm going to have to just really focus on that and I'll become a killer that way. Don't get anywhere near me because I will fucking choke you. And I will not be able to stand up or shoot or do, a lot of these athletic things, but I'll have to focus on something else. Either way, the goal doesn't change. The mission doesn't change. It's still the same shit. And I'm thinking like, it'll just be part of the story. But I'd rather it not be part of the fucking story and like just be able to fucking hit it hard and just like now there's going to be some time where I'm not training as hard. Like it's going to be one of those things. I'm going to show up and it's like, maybe I could have been better, but at the end of the day, there's nothing I can do about it. It's done. Yeah. It is what it is. I'll nurse it a little bit. This is where it's very crucial when things like this happen to not allow it to become an excuse. Because it's a very fine line to nurse it or to just not, I just don't want to do anything right now because if I might make it worse,
Yeah, you have to be mindful of how you participate in jiu-jitsu.
But anyway, it's frustrating.
And continue to stretch. Yeah. So today I had a really great workout. I did your the
Navy SEAL burpees?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did 15.
Did you? Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I could have done more.
Yeah.
Right? Like I could have done more, but I wanted to work out on my arms, even though that is working out on the arms, but I wanted to isolate the muscle. I was working on my biceps and my back. So, but yeah, no, that was pretty cool. That's
awesome.
When I saw you doing them, I'm like, ooh, those look rough.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could feel myself getting stronger.
Yeah.
I have to look up certain workouts to increase my upper body strength so that I do want to do pull-ups, even if it's one.
I was watching that video that you sent me of the girl doing pull-up. Dude, that was impressive. And she's like talking through it, like giving you instructions while she's doing it. I'm like, damn.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And she said something, right? Did she give any advice on how to strengthen?
Oh, she gave all kinds.
Yeah.
She was giving all kinds of exercises and all that.
Yep. So I need to go back to that because I really do. For me, I think a woman who does like pull-ups, that's hot.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, no, that's impressive.
Yes. And I feel pretty good too when I go to the gym because there's nobody jump roping and I kick ass in jump roping. And it's so fun. Like I love it. And I'm getting really good at it to where I can probably do an entire song.
Yeah.
You know,
Have you picked the song out
I've
yet?
done 3 different, like, I'll count like how many songs. So I do anywhere from 4 to 5.
Jump
Right?
roping.
You're right. But I'm
Damn.
thinking like,
That's a lot.
but I still skip. You know what I'm saying? Like I end up hitting the rope. So I have to stop and then start again.
Yeah.
But there's times where, especially when I get into that state, where I'll just close my eyes.
You're just
like
going.
just meditate while I'm jump roping and just really focus on what it is that I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that song Champion came on from what's her name? Blonde chick.
Champion?
Yeah, the song Champion.
I don't know.
Anyways, that song came on, and once it came on, I'm like, oh hell yes. Like I just zoned
It was
in
on?
and was able to practically do the entire song. And then someone was coming in from the outside to the gym because of where I jump rope. There's a door there where you can actually go and work out outside. And when I was jump roping, I had to move up because I'm like near the door. And
Yeah.
so I stopped, like I broke that stride,
Yeah.
you know? But no, I feel like really good. And with the planks the other day too, I was telling you, a song came on and I was feeling really good. And I was actually like dancing while I'm holding myself up doing the plank, you know, and I'm like, this feels really easy. But it's like what you said, I need to check this out. Because you said when you are dancing, you're
moving a little bit. Like you're hitting you are hitting different muscles.
right.
Every time you change your angle a little bit, it's hitting something a little bit differently.
So it's not just all isolated. Right. So
which may not be a bad thing. Is you know.
No, yeah. So anyways, I did up it. I was doing 2 minutes. So I did go from 2 minutes to 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
On your planks?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Just staying like, it's
good job.
It's crazy. Like it's pretty challenging
and
to not
you guys
move and keep it.
Want to see
you know
what the effects of these planks and everything? Check out the podcast. Watch it on YouTube and Facebook.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Dude.
So no, it's a lot. And I'm meeting people there. Like, you know, like today I was jump roping and I have fun when I do it. So I'm smiling. I'm listening to the song. I'm singing while I'm jump roping.
Yeah.
And there was this lady next to me who was working out. And when I was done, she had stopped me. And she's like, you're really good. You know, so I had to share with her I wasn't always really good.
Yeah.
And we just started in a deep, like having a really deep conversation. And she's a cancer survivor.
Wow.
And so we just start talking and she talks about her mind shift, like how she had going through that crisis of not knowing whether she was going to be here.
Yeah.
Right? Like the shift that happened within her of recognizing what's important in life.
Yeah.
And rewriting like her life story. You know, from the things that she used to do of being busy, being caught up, making money and this and this and that.
Yeah.
To slowing down because she had all this time, right? Then she was having to take off and be with herself and recognizing the importance of surrounding yourself with those that are positive.
Yeah.
Because when she's like, when you are going through something like this, your mindset and how you feel about what's been unfolded, a simple negative thought can take you down a rabbit hole and can lead you to the question of, am I going to fight or am I just going to allow myself to sit in this pity party and realize that my life is over and just allow things to be? You know what I'm saying? She's like, to fight. She said, I was looking up all kinds of things that I can do taking out certain things that I would put on my body, what I would put in my mouth, how I would feed my body, you know, and really making sure that the company I had around me was lifting my spirits.
Yeah.
And she mentioned that her faith, believing in God, helped her tremendously. She's like, I don't know if I would have been able to push through like without the faith.
That is true. She doesn't know.
Yeah. And
that,
so
you see what I'm saying? Like that is the thought. I don't know if I could have.
Yeah.
You're right. You don't know if you could have done it without it.
So then when she started talking about all of this, and she was wearing a cross necklace, and I'm sure she saw my necklace as well.
Your little cross.
I shared that with her. I said, you know, in the Bible that it states the kingdom of God lies within you. Ye are God's. And so I started going through that with her. And I said, have you noticed that they never preach or talk about those verses in church? You know? And she's like, yes. And then she started to kind of like see, because during that transition of her receiving the news, that was something that also shifted within her.
What was that?
Believing within.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
And so, so we exchanged numbers, and I offered her a gifting session.
Nice.
So we're going to, you know, schedule that. And I
guys will
also
meet
talked to her about the retreat as well.
Yeah.
You know?
That's awesome, babe.
But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's I don't know if you had anything else, but there's something that I've been kind of telling you about that I've been wanting to talk to you. We've been talking about it for a couple of days. At this point, for everybody that's listening, it's probably a week old. So there's probably more news that has come out. I don't know if there's any new stuff. But the Olympics have started. And I remember as a kid, like the Olympics, like every year or every time that the Olympics would come around, like everybody was like excited. Oh, the Olympics are coming. It's going to like every 4 years, and you're waiting for it to come back around. And then you're watching all the different things, the competitions that they have and all that stuff. And then this year, obviously they're doing it in Paris, and they had this right from the beginning. They had this opening ceremony, and man, they've been catching hell over this opening ceremony because there was a part in the ceremony where they have a table. And I don't know if it was like a table with a bunch of food and all kinds of stuff on it, but there was a table, and then behind the table and around the table, there's all these people, and they're all dressed in drag, and it's like a giant party. But if you are Christian, or if you've seen like the Da Vinci painting of the Last Supper, it does resemble the Last Supper a little bit. There are a lot of big differences, but if you want to, you could be like, that looks a lot like the Last Supper. And for people that are very religious, they found that like super disrespectful, obviously. And companies have pulled advertising and all this stuff. And, you know, when it comes to like religion and all that stuff, like I have my non-belief, right? And having that, like I've also kind of thought like, why? Like, just because other people believe something, like, do I have to respect everything? Like, but what if I don't feel that it's true at all? I don't have to play the game, you know? I understand how they could get offended and why they would be angry. But when you listen to the people that put this whole thing together, they said that that's not what it was. And when you listen to their explanation of it, there was something way back it's like a Greek bacchanalia or something like that, I think it's called. Here it is. I got it. I actually have it here. But what that scene in the opening ceremony was supposed to be a representation of, what it was supposed to depict was the Feast of the Gods. It's a painting. It's a Dutch 17th century painting of the Feast of the Gods. The Feast of the Gods was a painting of the Olympic Greek gods. And if you look up that painting, it is also a table with a bunch of people. It's like a big party around it. What are they doing? This is the opening ceremony for the Olympics. It would make sense that they would do make a thing like that. And the French have always been like very liberal. I was watching this thing about it, and like the French have always been very liberal and open. So like incorporating the drag thing and the inclusivity and accepting everybody as they are is what they were trying to depict. The blue guy that was like in the middle was one of the gods, Dionysus, and they have like an explanation. Like they break it down. And it was pretty crazy because I saw this this post from somebody that said that was kind of explaining what this whole thing was. And let me just read it real quick. Marla Francis, and it says, "Dearest gentle reader, I am about to step on some toes in regard to the opening ceremony at the Paris Olympics. The headless woman was Marie Antoinette. She ruled over France and was found guilty of treason, conspiracy, and stealing from the country." So they were trying to like show the things in the world that are happening, you know? Sound familiar? Also, it was not the Last Supper. It was a depiction of an ancient Greek bacchanalia, which is like an ancient Greek party. It is kind of like a pleasure party. Like they have food and all this. I don't know. But because the Olympics are ancient and Greek. Surprise. And if you didn't know, a bacchanalia is an uncontrollably promiscuous, extravagant, and loud party. The parties often spanned several days and honored the god of wine, Bacchus, the blue guy covered in grapevine. He is also known as Dionysus, the Greek god of fertility, later known as the god of wine and pleasure. And finally, it was not death on a pale horse. It was Sequana, goddess of Seni, the river in which the boat procession took place. She was meant to be the representation of the Olympic spirit and of Sequana. If some of you weren't so busy trying to end the Department of Education, you might know this. Loosen the clutch on your pearls. Yours truly, Lady Francis. That's tough. That's tough because so many people right now hold such strong opinions about what they did.
Right.
And the people that put this together are telling you what they were trying to do.
Right.
But they're like, no, you guys are disrespectful. That's blasphemy. And they've been pulling advertising. They've been doing all kinds of shit. It's crazy.
Really?
Yeah. But that is only one thing that has happened. And we'll talk a little bit about it. But the other thing that we've been talking about is boxing. And there's this whole thing with the trans movement and competition. Like it's a controversial thing with men and trans women. I don't know how the hell you want to call it. People that were born biologically male competing against women. In some sports, like I don't think it's fair in any sport. But in some sports, it's super dangerous, like fighting, like boxing, like judo, like wrestling. It gets a little more dangerous. You're not swimming against each other.
Right.
You're not playing tennis or whatever. And I think the person's name is Imane Khalif from Algeria, was boxing a lady or a girl, whatever, from Italy. And I guess Imane Khalif, they said that tested back in the day XY chromosome, which means that they're a male. And like automatically, like you see the features are, she has some male features, right? Kind of looks male, looks strong, looks bigger. But this doesn't, the thing is, a lot of people are combining two things. They're automatically because of everything that's happening in the world, combining this with the trans issues that are happening in the world. This doesn't have anything to do with the trans issues in the world. Imane Khalif, I believe, was born intersex, which is like, people want things to be black and white. They want things to be so fucking like straightforward and easy. If this person was born intersex, maybe they have XY chromosome, maybe they have XX chromosome, making them male, female, whatever. But there's something a little bit different about this specific person. And it is none of their fault. Yeah, they get into the sport of boxing and they want to compete. What are you supposed to do? I mean, I don't think they did like testosterone tests and hormone tests and all this stuff. And I guess she was like barely under, like in some organizations, I guess she's over the limit and she can't compete as a woman. But for the Olympic organization, because they have different standards, her testosterone was low enough, may have been too high to compete somewhere else. But in the Olympics, it's low enough for her to compete against women. So she did. Has nothing to do with being trans. Everybody in the fucking world has an opinion about this person right now. And I did too. I posted a story on my fighting podcast. I posted it on my fucking personal one. And then I went back and deleted it.
Wow. Yeah. When you don't know the full blown story, you can judge by not knowing.
Imagine now how this person must feel.
Wow.
Like, I don't think that it's fair. I still don't think that it's fair for her to box a woman, because there is something different about her. I mean, it is what it is. If you're born intersex and you do get more testosterone, then you shouldn't be boxing just regular women. I don't know if you should be boxing men. It sucks.
Right.
But it's not fucking easy.
Right. Yeah. Like you said, it's not black or white.
Yeah. It's so hard to like see it. I mean, you go on reaction video after reaction video after reaction video of a guy beating the shit out of a girl. The man stops the girl 46 seconds in. It's not so easy. I mean, I don't even know what to think.
Right.
What to do. What do you do?
That's tough. That's tough.
What do you do? Do you say you can't compete? Why shouldn't you be able to compete? Who are you going to compete against is a different question.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. It's not so easy. With my fighting podcast, I've been introduced to street beefs, and I was watching a video from the guy that started the whole thing this week, Scarface, from the Scrapyard.
Scarface.
And he said something where it made me really think. You know, he seems like this rough dude. He's been in prison and all this. And he was like, one thing that I've been taught is not to speak about things that I don't know well enough. Or not to hold strong opinions about things that I don't know enough about. That's what he was saying. And dude, like I noticed it just with these two things, just with the Olympics, like how quick my mind was to, this is what I believe.
Right.
It's messed up.
And how many times has this happened?
You just pick
right?
you pick a
in
team.
The past, yeah.
And how hard is it to backtrack? Once you've committed emotionally to something and you said this is what I believe.
Right.
How hard is it to take that back?
Right. It takes a sense of just being humble and taking responsibility.
Yeah. I felt pretty shitty, you know, like.
Oh, so this is what you've been wanting to talk to me, because you and I were having that conversation in the kitchen.
Not so much that I felt shitty, but like I know who I am, and like I've told you, I will change my mind about things.
Yeah.
And I completely changed my mind about this. Like I feel bad now for the other person. Like the entire fucking planet is attacking this person for something that they have no control over.
And because they don't know the full story.
Yeah.
Like you looked into the information.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's how you found.
Yeah.
They didn't have it out there.
And that's the thing. I started looking up some stuff. You guys can like if you really, I didn't dig completely, but I started finding that there's not just one side to this story.
And that's with everything, right?
Yeah.
Like there's, yeah, there's an issue happening right now, in the family. And I am so neutral right now. Like I just am that, and there's always two stories and then the truth.
Yeah.
I am just here, and to support who I can support, to love who I'm just, who am I? Who am I to judge?
Yeah.
Who am I to, just be neutral.
One thing that did happen during the opening ceremony is some dude let his nuts out during
Shut up.
in the Last Supper scene. Look it up if you guys don't know about this. In the Last Supper scene, they have all these people. For one, there wasn't 12 people on the last in the Olympic thing. There was like 17. So yeah, but when you look up the Greek gods,
Yes.
I did research. I was like, the Greek Olympic gods, Zeus, Poseidon, Dionysus is one of them. There's a bunch. There's 12 of them. So if they had 12, it could also be a coincidence that it's kind of like the Last Supper, right? But anyway, one of the guys that was up there, he's dressed in black and he's got like these little tiny black shorts and it seems like his freaking sack's hanging out the bottom. Dude, it's everywhere on the internet. I don't know if that one's fake. It might be fake news too, but I think that one's actually real.
Dude, these days, you have no idea what is real. Right?
The Olympic sack.
With everything that's happening with AI, like just with everything, you don't know what is real, what is true.
Yep.
Even like with the media, what's happening now with the politics, the politicians, all of it. It's so confusing.
Yep. Hey, this guy's got his nuts out. Go look it up.
So they blocked it out.
They blurred it out. Down.
Yeah.
Look at how short his shorts are. Of course his freaking nuts are going to be hanging out. Insane.
The world that we are living in today.
Yeah. But yeah, like that it is sad, but it's good to be aware. I mean, it's good to talk about it, talk to other people about it and make them aware. Not holding strong opinions about things you don't know. You know?
I mean, you can see
just making automatic assumptions.
Religion, with politics, so many. There's so many. We are blinded.
Yeah. Yep. Before we do anything else, make sure you guys go to our website, oppositeattractpodcast.com. Share it with the people that you know. Like we said before, the best thing you can do is share a clip. Go to our clips channel on YouTube, Opposites Attract Podcast Clips, and check out some of those clips. Share it with somebody else. Have them like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff.
You can also go to buymeacoffee.com/oppositepod and buy us a virtual drink. You can subscribe to that on a monthly basis as well. So that's another way that you can support the show.
Yep.
Yes, yes.
What's up, babe?
So I am excited about what's coming with the retreat and like with my coaching and things that have been revealed and things that are being shedded.
What are you shedding?
Control. Like you can't control. Things are going to unfold the way they're supposed to unfold.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And this morning I was listening to our friend BNS. I was listening to his one of his podcasts, and it was saying that how we project onto others what's within.
How so?
You know, like if you're judging someone, if there's something going on, if you're having judgment against someone.
Yeah. I was listening to something about that this week too.
And so there's something I've been going through. And so I just had to take a look within to see, okay, where is there a judgment against self pertaining to this situation? You know, being aware of self. It's an everyday challenge to be aware of self. You know, yesterday when I was making dinner, you know, and it just came from nowhere. I was just annoyed. I was frustrated, just all this stuff. And after the fact, I started to go back and pay attention to the thoughts that were coming in, that were actually causing the frustration.
Yeah.
And recognized why I was feeling the way I was feeling. And it wasn't.
It's like an anxiety. It was like an anxiety of, what you have coming up and things you got to do. And
And so being able to recognize and see and be able to shift, like I had mentioned it to you, like I was upset. And you looked at me and, you know, like the kids were just like in la la land, like they normally are, you know, and I was cooking a feast, right? Chopping. I was in there. You were in here doing your thing. And I was in there and things needed to be done. And
you were feeling lonely. And you were yelling for me.
Like, I feel lonely.
Like, what? I'm busy. And then I was like, all right, I'll grab my tablet and go work over there so that I can at least be sitting with you.
Yes.
I should have did that earlier, but I didn't think about it.
And then, you know, like the kids were just like lollygagging. I'm like thinking to myself, I took all this time to cook this food and they were just like, whatever, expecting us to get table ready, the utensils. Like it's something new, right? Yeah. Like they know what they need to do. And I was just so empty. You know, I just didn't have the energy to be like, Audrey, get the forks. Joey, do this. Joey, do that. Because they already know what it is. So I was like, well, fuck it. I'm going to wash 2 forks for you and we're going to sit and we're going to eat. And like I was just so frustrated and done.
Yeah.
You know, and you saw this and I had mentioned something and I started eating and you're like, you're not going to wait for the kids? I'm like, no.
She's like, fuck them. No, she didn't.
You know what I'm saying? Like I was just at that point, like I want to eat a hot fucking meal.
Yeah.
And because they're just lollygagging, I'm going to, you know, and so I'm like, I'm going to eat a fucking hot meal. I'm like, I'm eating, you know?
Yeah.
And then you had mentioned something because you saw that I was eating and you're like, wow, you're really pissed off, huh?
Yeah.
And then you tried to come at me and I'm like, don't you? I'm like, when you were like this, I give you time.
No, I thought about it.
Like,
I wasn't going to come at you. I was going to mention something, but then I was just like, fuck it. We'll talk about it some other time.
Right. I'm like, leave me alone. Allow me just to be, right?
I had to do it to you.
Yeah.
What I needed you to do to me back in the day.
Right.
Like, dude, just fucking leave me alone for a little bit.
Yeah. And how did that feel?
That was fine.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. We're going to talk about it now.
Yeah. But, and then I ended up like just calming down and just really seeing, you know, what was happening. But it's like, people ask me like, how are you so happy? How do you always keep it? No, I'm not always this way. There's times where I
get frustrated,
disconnect. I get frustrated. I get this, I get that, you know, but it was weird because it came out of nowhere. Like it just came out of nowhere. And then I recognized what happened.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And realized too that, yeah. Anyways. But being aware of it I'm grateful that I am aware of these things now. I'm aware of me.
Yeah.
right? And it's okay to have these emotions because these emotions create us to be happy all the time. Yeah, that's not possible. To be happy
24/7 all the time.
Right. And some people actually feel bad when they are not that. Like, what is it? What's going on? Why do I actually feel nothing? Because the last couple of days I've been kind of just
blah.
Not blah, just like in my own little world. I've been more quiet. Have you noticed this? Just kind of like, and it's not like I'm caught up in my thoughts. It's just the quietness within me.
Yeah.
You know? It's like that stillness within me, just wanting to be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, when you were frustrated yesterday, I was just thinking about the kids, you know, like Audrey's 13, you know, who knows how long we have with her. You know, it's just one of those things, like, and also thinking, like, one thing I was going to tell you, I was like, we're not the first ones. We're not the first ones to deal with this. Like, this is happening everywhere, all over the world. And it's happened throughout history. Parents having to just be on their kid's ass. Yeah. I bet it happened in the cave. Go get your club. Where are you going without your club? You can't fucking club a dinosaur if you don't have a club. Go get your club. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
And it's just part of being a kid. Right?
It is.
It's just part of being a kid. I was that as well, you know, but like I said, you know, there's going to be days where there's a lot and where you just have to really let it go. Like, whatever. I'm not going to spend my energy doing and chasing and, right?
Yeah. Just got to reshift your focus, your perspective. You know, like when you think about it, we're not the first ones to deal with this type of stuff. This isn't going to be happening for too much longer. You know, the dishes will be clean. Mm-hmm. The utensils will be out. The table will be set, but they won't be at the table.
Right. And I know those things.
You know?
Right? Yeah. Like I know those things. But there's times where you just become unconscious and you get into your own emotions, and it's okay. And during those times, you just forgive yourself. And if anything was said, which nothing was said, like I didn't say anything hurtful or anything to the kids. I don't even think they recognized it, actually, because I went, you know, to go sit with Audrey for a bit, and I talked to Joey for a bit, and they didn't recognize it. They were too busy in their own little world
doing their thing.
They didn't even recognize.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, I just got pretty sad. I just had a thought. We talk a lot about on this podcast about like eating together as a family. Mm-hmm. Sitting down at the table and the impact that it has. And we've had a lot of, I mean, we do it all every day almost. Mm-hmm. Dude, I had the thought of like when the kids move out, like we've had a big table our entire relationship. We've always had the family sitting at the table. Nikki, Randy, Nito, the kids. We've always sat together and ate at the table, break bread like the Last Supper. Mm-hmm. And then I thought, like, when it's just me and you, maybe we'll get one of those little tables where me and you sit. Mm-hmm. But that kind of made me sad.
Yeah. Well, you're thinking in the future.
But, you know, like we'll still have a big table for when people come over and we all get together.
Oh, yeah.
But, man, that kind of made me sad.
Yeah. I don't know. I really see our kids not moving out right away.
Yeah.
You know, like I just don't see them leaving us right away. You know, and I feel that they will come back often, you know, when they're hungry. Like they want mommy's food.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't talk about moving far away or anything like that. I just
Audrey does.
No?
yeah. She's like, I'm going to the beach. I don't know about you guys. Like, you guys can stay in the fucking desert if you want. She's like, I'm going somewhere by the beach.
When did she say that?
She's been saying that. You need to talk. You need to ask her because she's gonna be gone. She's gonna be moving somewhere by the beach.
And that's so funny.
But,
I mean, she talked about buying a house on this block.
I know.
To be closer to us.
You know kids though, that she's flip flopping and all that.
Yeah.
She'll move. She could move to the beach and then a week later, she's like, I miss my family. She wants to come back. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. And who knows? Like when I think about like my relationship with my mom, like we don't see her very often.
No.
You know, like we don't go visit her, you know, very often.
It's different. Everybody's different. It's a completely different situation. It's a different time. It's a different generation. Everything is different.
Yeah. Every family's different. Who knows?
Every family's different within families.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the whole like the kids not moving out. I was listening to something. I can't remember where. It was a little while back, but they were saying that this generation of kids, like the ones that are kind of getting ready to start working, Michaela and the kids, and like these are the first generations that will not outperform their parents.
Really?
That they will not be able to outperform their parents.
Why?
Because I don't know if it's because they're starting from such a harder place or whatever. I don't know. But like,
but what does that mean? Outperform their parents?
Not like
I don't
outperform,
understand.
like the success that we have, buying a house, making this much money, being able, you know, all of this stuff. These generations that are coming up right now are going to be the first ones that do not do better than the generation before.
I wonder if it's because the cost of living.
I think it's a combination of everything. You know, just like you were just saying, like the kids may not be moving. Like it's a different, for us, maybe it's a little bit different thing. But for a lot of other people where they would be like, you need to get your ass out when you're 18.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. What are you going to do? Because kids are all like living on top of each other, working multiple jobs so that they can survive. It's rough.
Yeah.
Student loans, like college prices are insane, you know, and maybe kind of like we've talked about a lot in the past, like the cycles of things. Everything has cycles, the yin and the yang.
Mm-hmm.
How were things back in the day? Families were tighter and closer. They had to rely on each other. And it seems like we might be headed towards that again. And maybe that's a good thing. To have to rely on each other, to have to take care of each other.
Who was it that we were talking to that was, they were telling us about their family and their children, how their children.
Who was that?
Ooh.
Because it was that same exact thing, right?
Oh, wait. Was it the guy, our Uber driver?
When we were going to Wisconsin?
He was talking about like his family. He was from India.
Was he from India?
Not the white guy.
Dude, I'm sorry. I don't remember.
But they were talking about how in their culture that they like their family, their parents like take care of them and then once the parents get older, they take care of the parents. But they live with each other. Who was that? I think maybe it was someone.
No, because I remember the conversation.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it may have been. I don't remember the two Uber drivers.
Yeah, and here in the US, that's not what we do.
Yeah.
You know? But
speaking of Uber drivers, I met a guy in an Uber. I met a guy in an Uber. He was actually I could probably pull it up because I got all the Ubers saved. But this guy, I think his name was Ahmed.
Uh-huh.
And he was from Iraq. No, not Iraq. He was from Afghanistan. Sorry. Because they're not the same. And I like just kind of talking to him, and he was a family guy, like just kind of making conversations. He spoke English well, and you know, just like regular talk, I was like, where are you from? And he's like, Afghanistan. You know, and as soon as like somebody says Afghanistan, like we were talking earlier, you start thinking, I wonder what his story is. I wonder this and that. You know, so I start talking to him. He's like, I guess he worked for the U.S. as a contractor or whatever. Like he would do aid and stuff like that. And then I asked him, I was like, so how long have you been here? And he was like, I don't know if it was like 4 or 5 years or whatever. Whatever answer he gave me was pretty much in line with when we left Afghanistan. You remember that whole thing that happened we just fucking took off and left all kinds of shit there and left all kinds of people there and all that stuff?
Yes.
That's when he left. And I was like, oh, wow. I was like, so you left like when that was going on? He was like, yeah. I was like, wow. So you were able to get out? And he was like, yep.
That was our Uber driver.
Was that our Uber driver?
Yes. Yes. He had a yellow thing dangling from his rearview mirror.
You remember this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I didn't think you were with me. I thought that was a different trip that I went on talking to an Uber driver. But yeah, so he was, he had been here for, you know, since that happened. And I was like, wow, like you were able to make it out. And he said, yeah, he had a few kids and a wife and seemed like a super, super nice guy, but just like the different lives that we live. And just like, I mean, when he told me that he was from Afghanistan, like I get the picture of that C5 or whatever that cargo, it was either a C5 or a C-130 that's just like going down the runway and people are literally hanging off of it trying to get out of Afghanistan, you know? And I was like, wow, like this dude was able to get out of there.
Yeah.
You know, because we left a lot of people behind, you know, I don't know. Anyway, but shout out to that dude. It was a pretty super nice guy. Yeah. It's just crazy, like the shit that people go through in life.
Yeah.
And earlier you were talking about like these judgments that we have sometimes and these preconceived notions that we just kind of make, like we just assumptions that we make of people, or they should this, they should that. And I always like kind of feel like you would be the same. You would be exactly the same.
What do you mean by that? If
you think you're so like they just need to get it to like.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Like, dude,
if you were in their situation,
you have no clue what that is.
Right.
And if you were in that, let's take one thing that is very easy to like dismiss, or like not dismiss, but it's just like not even our life. It's just like savages, completely separate, is the shit that happens in Chicago. Like you look at these kids that are killing each other out there. Like everybody knows, like I guess the south side of Chicago is like a fucking war zone. They call it Chirac, right? It's been like that for a while. They're fucking animals. They need to get it together, right? But dude, like this is generations. Like when you're like, yes, we all collectively should try to figure out what to do, but you can't just like fucking bash them and judge them, and like they are who they are because of their situation. I don't know. It's kind of like this whole Last Supper, the boxing thing, all of this shit. It's not fucking black and white.
Yeah.
It's very complicated.
It was kind of, what came to mind was when you shared with me when you left New York and went to move to Florida.
Yeah.
Totally different environment. You grew up, right? Like you had to fight in order to survive, or you had to be that in order to, and then you go to Florida.
Yeah.
And things are very laid back.
Things are very laid back. Yeah. It was just a completely different. Yeah. I struggled a little bit moving from New York to Florida in high school. I finished my last 2 years of high school in Florida. And I was never like the kid that would look for fights or any of that stuff. But growing up in New York, in Queens, like it's just, you can let people push you a little bit, but at a certain point, you got to fucking stick up for yourself, because you will get eaten alive by other people. Like they'll steal your shit. They'll fucking, it's rough. right? And when I moved to Florida, people would just talk and say shit. Like in New York, if you talk at a certain point, you fight. And that's just kind of that literally what we're talking about. That's how I was raised. You know, so when in Florida, as soon as somebody like came up to me or like looked at me wrong, I was like, what are we doing? Like, are we throwing down like right here, right now? Like let's go. And it's funny because my second year, so it's funny. I had a guy that had been there for a couple of years before me, Tony, and he was from Harlem. And we were in a gym class, and this kid gets in my face. Oh, the teacher's like collecting basketballs, and she's like, hey, she told him go bring all the basketballs around. So I have a ball, the rim's over here or whatever, and he's like on the other side of the rim, and I was like, I'm gonna take this last. He's like, hey, throw me the ball, I'm collecting them or whatever, and I'm like, I'm gonna take this last shot, and either the ball bounces towards him or it'll go somewhere else. I'll grab it and go, give it to him. And I take the shot, and he comes like running up to me like, I thought I told you to give me and this and that, and I'm like, let's do this. Like, there is no fucking talking. Like, I took a step back and I fucking put my hands up. I'm like, let's fucking go. Yeah. Like, who the fuck do you think you are getting in my face?
Yeah.
That's New York shit.
Yeah.
Right? And as soon as I put my hands up, this guy, Tony, like, I didn't know him at that point. Yeah. He's from Harlem, and he comes running up, and he's like, dude, like, you can't do that shit. Like, you're going to get kicked out of school. Yeah. You're going to get expelled, because I think he got expelled, So I ended up having to talk to the dean and all this other shit. And that ended up, little by little, I started adjusting. Right. Like I would leave to school and the neighbor would be like, hey, good morning. And I'm like, fuck you. Like, I don't know this guy. Fucking real New York shit. I'm like mean mugging him. Like, bitch, you don't know me.
Oh my God.
And then before you know it, I'm going to school. I'm like, hey, good morning. How's it going? Howdy, neighbor. All this
I'm wearing flip-flops.
Yeah. Yeah, never wear flip-flops to school because you got to fucking scrap sometimes, Now I'm wearing flip-flops. Howdy, neighbor. Fucking Hawaiian shirts and shit. But, yeah, so the next year in high school, now I'm kind of chilled out. And now what's funny is that when you're the other, because I was from New York and I had a really thick accent and all this other stuff, I wasn't like popular in New York. Yeah. Which was funny because I wasn't popular in New York, but when I moved to Florida, for some reason I became fucking popular. Like everybody's like, oh, who's the fucking new guy? Oh, let me hear you. The girls used to tell me, just say stuff.
Yes.
I'm like, what the fuck?
I remember
I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And then so my second year of high school in Florida, I'm figuring this shit out. Like I'm getting to know people, I'm talking to teachers. I'm in a different school now, and there's this new girl, Yolanda from Brooklyn.
And
and I show up to my science class so I get to my science class. This is the first day that I met her. And this girl walks in late. And I was sitting in the back of the class. And she walks in with the dean. And he said something like there was an issue or whatever. But sorry, she's a little late. And she's here for class. And she comes and sits down. And when she comes in, like she's got this look on her face. Like she is not happy.
Yeah.
I don't know if she fucking clicked when they introduced her. Like, my name's Yolanda or some shit like that, like the shit that the girls do. But she comes and sits down, and I'm like, automatically I can hear her accent, and I'm like, she's from New York somewhere. Yeah. So I'm like, where are you from? And she's like, I'm from Brooklyn. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what's up. I'm from Queens. Holla at your boy, or whatever, whatever I would have said back then. But she was like, I was like, so what happened? Why were you late? And she was like, I was walking from class to class. And some girl looked at me stupid, so I slapped her. I was like, what the fuck? So then I turned into my friend Tony. I was like, all right, Yolanda, you can't be slapping bitches when they look at you crazy. I'm like, what?
So funny.
Fucking insane, man.
Yeah.
But, dude, that's how we were raised.
Yeah, that's what I'm
slapping
saying.
bitches.
Like, you just never know. Like, when people, they come from different parts of life, like just different ways of living.
But was that my fault? It's not.
No.
It is what it is. That was my situation. Mm-hmm. Good thing that I was able to move to Florida, or maybe eventually in New York I would have grown up a little bit, matured a little bit, hopefully thought about some things a little bit and, changed my way of thinking. But that doesn't happen for everybody. It's not guaranteed and automatic. And everybody doesn't go have these growth processes or enlightenment period. Like, that's just not the case for everybody.
Yeah.
And if you're in the south side of Chicago and you grow up in this environment and this is all you know, all you do, you don't know any better.
Yeah. It's nuts.
And it's going to take all of us on the outside to have some empathy to be able to figure out what we need to do to help them. I don't think we should just throw money. Throwing money doesn't do shit.
Right. Yeah.
We need some money to like do some things and some program, but it's going to take people to fix it, not money.
Yeah. When you, that's why it's good to travel.
Yeah.
Yeah. That time in India just was
a whole different perspective.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. No, I've had small glimpses of that. Yeah. Yeah. Traveling out of the country will definitely, even if it's just Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I remember when we went on vacation and there was the family, like that's I'll never forget. I don't know if you remember what I'm talking about, but I remember there was a guy with, I think his wife might have been there too. Like we were going to grab something to eat and there was 2 kids like right there. I don't know what their situation or whatever. Like, I just, it's tough to see people in hard places.
Yeah.
Especially when you understand things in a certain way, because a lot of times it's like, oh, they need to fucking this and they need to fucking that. It's like, take it easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough. And, and part there is, we do ourselves have to do better. When you get to a certain level of awareness, there's no excuse now. Because now you know better. And you shouldn't treat people that way. You shouldn't judge people that way. You shouldn't prejudge people that way. Just like I did with the boxer. With the drag people that were on the Last Supper, what they thought was the Last Supper. All these things. Just take a minute. Because it might not be so black and white.
So if we just saw each other as people and decided to love, have empathy, have understanding.
Yeah.
That's what the world needs.
And with that, make sure you guys go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. Share with the people that you know. Make sure you guys support us by going through the Amazon link and buy me a coffee and all that stuff.
Yes. Thank you guys for your love. Thank you for your support. And thank you for watching Opposites Attract Podcast.
Where we get better
together. Bye.